The silent darkness of space erupted with light as three alien ships emerged from what humans would later learn was called fold space. The vessels gleamed like polished obsidian, their surfaces embedded with pulsing crystal formations that shifted colors in hypnotic patterns. They moved with impossible grace for objects so large, positioning themselves in Earth's orbit with precision that spoke of advanced technology. Inside the Earth Defense Fleet headquarters, alarms blared. Personnel rushed to stations, their faces a mixture of fear and determination. This was the moment humanity had prepared for since they first looked to the stars and wondered if they were alone. Commander Sam Miller stood before the main view screen, his weathered face calm despite the chaos around him. At 52, Sam had spent 30 years in service, climbing ranks through sheer determination and an uncanny ability to make the right decisions under pressure. His silver-peppered dark hair was cut military short, and his blue eyes never wavered from the alien ships now displayed on screen. "All defense platforms on standby," he ordered, voice steady. "No aggressive moves. I want all channels open for communication." Beside him, Science Officer Lisa Daniels nodded. Her brown hair was pulled back in a practical ponytail, her green eyes sharp with intelligence. At 36, she was one of Earth's leading xenolinguists and had developed much of the first contact protocol they were now implementing. "The ships aren't responding to standard greeting broadcasts," she reported, fingers dancing over her console. "I'm trying alternative frequencies." "Keep at it," Sam said. "What are they doing up there?" Chief Tactical Officer Greg Payton, a stocky man with dark skin and keen eyes, studied his readings. "They're scanning us, sir. Intense scans. They're looking at everything from our defense systems to our population centers." Sam frowned. This wasn't following the peaceful first contact scenario they had hoped for. "Opinions?" Lisa looked up from her station. "Their positioning suggests a show of force. 3 ships in triangle formation directly over our most populated area. In most cultures, this would be considered an intimidation tactic." "Agreed," Greg added. "And those scans. They're focusing on military installations, power grids, water supplies, strategic targets." Sam nodded slowly. "So not exactly coming in peace." He made a decision. "Prepare the welcome delegation shuttle, but keep our defense grid-powered. If they want to talk, we'll talk. If they want something else." He left the sentence unfinished. Within an hour, a small Earth shuttle launched toward the alien vessels. Lisa Daniels led the delegation, along with 5 other specialists chosen for their expertise in diplomacy, linguistics, and cultural studies. They carried with them Earth's accumulated scientific knowledge, art, and music, the best humanity had to offer as a greeting to their cosmic neighbors. The shuttle approached the largest alien ship. A bay opened silently, bathing them in soft purple light. An invitation. Lisa took a deep breath and guided the shuttle inside. The crack's receiving chamber was unlike anything humans had imagined. Towering crystal formations grew from floor to ceiling, pulsing with light that seemed alive. The air carried a sweet metallic scent. 5 aliens awaited them, each standing nearly 7 feet tall. Their bodies resembled polished granite, with crystal growths emerging from their shoulders, foreheads, and chests. Their 4 eyes glowed with an inner light, arranged in a diamond pattern on their angular faces. The tallest stepped forward. "I am Zernthal, voice of the Crack's Dominion," it said in perfect English, the words coming from a crystal embedded in its throat. "You stand before your betters." Lisa stepped forward, hiding her surprise at their command of Earth's language. "I am Science Officer Lisa Daniels of Earth. We come in peace and friendship, hoping to share knowledge and establish beneficial relations between our peoples." The cracks made a sound like crystal chimes. Laughter, Lisa realized. Zernthal's glowing eyes narrowed. "Your species is primitive. We have conquered galaxies while you were still discovering fire." "Perhaps we are younger," Lisa replied carefully, "but we have much to offer. Our art, music, scientific discoveries. We have no interest in your childish achievements," Zernthal interrupted. "The cracks require resources. Your planet has them. You will provide them." Lisa felt cold dread settle in her stomach. We're willing to discuss fair trade agreements. There is no discussion. There is no trade. There is only submission. Zernthal raised a crystalline appendage. This meeting is concluded. Return to your leaders. Tell them they have one cycle of your moon to prepare their surrender. After that, we take what we need. Back at headquarters, Sam Miller listened to Lisa's report with growing anger. They didn't even look at our offerings? They weren't interested in anything we had to say, Lisa confirmed. From their perspective, we're simply a resource to be harvested. Before Sam could respond, Greg's voice cut through the room. Commander, one of the alien ships is moving. On the main screen, they watched as the smallest Krax vessel broke formation, accelerating toward Earth's largest orbital station. The station housed 300 civilians, scientists, engineers, and their families. Get me a channel to that ship now, Sam ordered. Lisa tried frantically. They're ignoring all communications. Defensive measures, Sam commanded. Warning shots across their bow. Earth's defense satellites fired, energy beams slicing through. Space ahead of the approaching Krax vessel. The alien ship didn't slow or change course. Instead, it fired a single burst of energy. A beam of concentrated light that cut through the orbital station like paper. The station split in two. Atmosphere, venting in a frozen cloud around the dying structure. Emergency escape pods launched, but many would never make it. 300 lives ended in seconds as a demonstration of power. My God, someone whispered in the suddenly silent command center. The Krax ship returned to formation. A message came through on all channels. Zernthal's voice, cold and unconcerned. One cycle of your moon. Prepare your surrender terms. Any resistance will result in the extinction of your species. The three ships shimmered and vanished, folding back into whatever dimension they had emerged from. In the stunned silence that followed, Sam Miller's fists clenched at his sides. They didn't even bother to study our history, he said quietly. They didn't research what happens when someone backs humans into a corner. Lisa looked at him, her face pale but determined. What do we do now? Sam turned to his crew, his eyes hard as steel. Now? Now we show them why they should have read the warnings. Now we show them what happens when you provoke humanity. In orbit, the destroyed station continued to break apart, a grim monument to first contact gone terribly wrong. The Krax had delivered their message. They expected submission. What they would get instead would become a legend whispered throughout the galaxy for 1,000 years. Humanity had 1 month to prepare, it would be enough. Far across the galaxy, in a vast chamber lined with living crystal, the Galactic Council was in session. Representatives from 200 spacefaring species sat in tiered rings, their forms as varied as the stars themselves. At the center of the chamber, a holographic display showed Earth, a blue-green jewel spinning in the darkness. The Krax have made contact with the humans, announced the arbitrator, an ancient being of pure energy contained in a hovering mechanical shell. They have followed their usual pattern: intimidation, destruction, demands for surrender. A ripple of concern moved through the gathered representatives. A tall, insect-like being raised a slender limb. Was no one going to warn the humans? The warnings are in the archives, replied the arbitrator, as they have been for centuries. The Krax simply chose not to read them. From the shadows at the back of the chamber, a scarred representative of the Varlian species made a rasping sound that passed for laughter among their kind. Then the Krax have sealed their fate. Back on Earth, humanity was not surrendering. They were preparing. Jack Howard stood before the United Earth Defense Council, his tall frame rigid with determination. At 45, Jack had been a diplomat before the attack. Now, as the newly appointed War Minister, he addressed the grim-faced leaders gathered in the underground bunker beneath the ruins of Geneva. The Krax have attacked similar worlds before, Jack said, pointing to the holographic display showing 3 solar systems. The Tellurians surrendered after their moon was destroyed. The Axoni submitted when their coastal cities were vaporized. The Novan Republic tried to fight but lost when the cracks targeted their food production. And what happened to these species after surrender? Asked Chairwoman Maria Rivera, her dark eyes somber. Jack's mouth tightened. Total resource extraction. The cracks strip planets of anything valuable, metals, water, biomass. The native populations are displaced usually to harsh colony worlds where they serve as labor. And you believe we can succeed where these others failed? The question came from General Ben Foster, his weathered face skeptical. Jack nodded. We have something they didn't. We've spent our entire existence fighting, against nature, against each other, against impossible odds. We're not going to stop now. He gestured, and the holographic display changed to show a crystalline fragment. And thanks to the quick thinking of Science Officer Daniels, we have this. A piece of Cracks technology recovered from their brief docking with our delegation shuttle. In laboratories around the world, human scientists worked tirelessly to understand the alien technology. Kate Williams, a brilliant engineer from Boston, led the research team at MIT. Her hands moved with careful precision as she examined the crystal fragment under a quantum microscope. It's not just technology, she explained to Alan Garcia, her research partner. It's almost alive. These lattice patterns, they respond to specific energy frequencies. Alan nodded, his dark eyes thoughtful. Like tuning forks. Hit the right frequency. And the whole structure resonates, Kate finished. Which could be very useful for us. Similar breakthroughs were happening worldwide. In London, scientists discovered that the Cracks crystal technology was vulnerable to specific electromagnetic pulses. In Beijing, engineers developed prototype weapons that could disrupt the crystal structures. In Nairobi, a team created shielding that might protect human technology from Cracks energy weapons. None of these discoveries alone would save humanity. Together, they might give Earth a fighting chance. 17 days after the Cracks ultimatum, War Minister Jack Howard received a strange transmission. It came through channels that hadn't existed before, alien frequencies that Earth's technology shouldn't have been able to access. "Do not share this communication," came a rasping voice speaking in oddly accented English. "We are the Varlians. We have observed your species for centuries." Jack leaned forward in his office chair, eyes narrowed. "Why contact us now?" "To offer information. The Cracks believe themselves invincible. They are not. Their crystal technology has weaknesses. Their arrogance blinds them to these weaknesses." "Why would you help us?" Jack asked. There was a moment of silence before the Varlian responded. 117 of your years ago, a Varlian exploration fleet discovered Earth. We saw resources. We attempted acquisition. Jack's eyes widened. There's no record of this in our history. Because the humans we encountered left no survivors to report back, the Varlian said. A small outpost of your kind in a remote northern region. Fewer than 200 humans against our advanced warriors. We thought victory assured. What happened? They refused to surrender. They fought with primitive weapons and improvised explosives. When defeat seemed certain, they triggered a geological event, what you would call a volcanic eruption, sacrificing themselves to destroy our landing party. The Varlian's voice carried something like respect. We withdrew and placed warnings in the Galactic archives. Your species was classified as dangerous if provoked. The Cracks ignored these warnings. The transmission ended with a set of coordinates, the location of a small Cracks outpost on one of Neptune's moons, a place where humans could study Cracks technology up close, if they could reach it undetected. By the 25th day after the ultimatum, Earth had a plan. It was desperate and dangerous, but no one had better ideas. Peter Collins sat in the pilot's seat of the stealth shuttle, flying dark as it approached Neptune's moon Triton. At 32, Peter had been NASA's top test pilot before the Cracks' arrival. Now he led a mission that might determine humanity's future. Coming up on the coordinates, he told his small crew. No signs they've detected us. The Cracks' outpost was small, a research station studying the solar system. The human team moved with silent efficiency, using their newly developed technology to bypass crystal security systems. Within 2 hours, they had downloaded massive amounts of data and placed undetectable monitoring devices. They returned to Earth with precious intelligence. The Crack's mining fleet was already approaching the HFY solar system. The aliens expected no resistance. They came prepared to harvest, not to fight. "They think we've given up," Commander Sam Miller told the War Council after reviewing the intelligence. "They expect to find a defeated planet ready for harvesting. Instead, they'll spring our trap," Jack Howard said with grim satisfaction. Throughout Earth's major cities, engineers installed the devices Kate Williams and her team had designed. Beneath Washington, D.C., deep in hardened bunkers, Admiral Susan Clark prepared Earth's remaining fleet for the counterattack. The Cracks were coming back to claim their prize, but this time, humanity would be ready. On the 30th day, as Earth waited, the message from the Varlians came again. "We sent the Cracks one final warning. We told them to reconsider their actions. We reminded them that we still bear the scars from our encounter with humans." "And their response?" Jack asked. "They dismissed it as cowardice," the Varlian replied. "They will regret this error." On the 31st day they came, the sky above Earth filled with Crack ships. Not just the 3 vessels from before, but an entire mining fleet. 20 massive harvesters, their crystal structures glowing with cold purpose, accompanied by smaller support craft. They moved into position around the planet like hungry predators surrounding fallen prey. From his hidden command post beneath the Rocky Mountains, Commander Sam Miller watched the sensor readings with narrowed eyes. "Any response to our hails?" he asked, though he already knew the answer. Communications Officer Frank Turner shook his head. "Nothing, sir. They're ignoring all frequencies." "Of course they are," Sam muttered. "They think we're beaten. Status of our orbital stations?" "All evacuated as ordered, sir," Greg Payton replied from Tactical. "Life support systems shut down. They appear abandoned." Sam nodded slowly. The trap was set. Now they needed the Cracks to take the bait. Officer Peter Collins floated in darkness, his small stealth ship hidden in the shadow of Jupiter's moon Callisto. Around him, Earth's remaining fleet waited. 50 vessels of various sizes, all modified with the new crystal-disrupting technology developed by Kate Williams and her team. Each ship was powered down to minimal life support, presenting no signature that Crack sensors could detect. Peter's hand hovered over the activation switch. Admiral Susan Clark's voice came through his headset, calm and steady. "Hold position. Wait for it. Let them get comfortable." On Earth's surface, cities stood silent, streets empty, buildings dark. The evacuation had been completed days ago, moving billions of people into underground shelters and remote facilities. To the Crack's sensors, the planet appeared abandoned, as if humanity had fled rather than face their conquerors. The main Crack's vessel, a massive crystalline structure twice the size of any other ship in their fleet, took position over North America. Smaller ships descended through the atmosphere, landing in major cities around the globe. Washington, D.C., Beijing, Moscow, London, Tokyo, each received a Crack's harvesting team. Commander Drez, leader of the Crack's ground forces, stepped onto Earth soil in what was once the National Mall in Washington, D.C. 6 Crack's soldiers accompanied him, their crystalline armor pulsing with energy. They moved with the confidence of conquerors who expected no resistance. "Primitive," Drez commented, looking at the abandoned human structures. "Begin scanning for resource concentrations." The Cracks deployed their harvesting equipment, towering crystal structures that burrowed into the ground seeking metals, water, and organic matter to consume. Similar scenes played out in cities worldwide as the aliens prepared to strip Earth bare. In his mountain bunker, Sam Miller received confirmation that all Crack's ground teams were in position. "They took the bait," he said. "All teams report ready?" Around the globe, team leaders confirmed their status. Kate Williams, positioned beneath New York with her engineering team, was the last to check in. "Ready, Commander, crystal disruptors at full capacity." Sam took a deep breath. Humanity would get one chance at this. "Begin Operation Shatterstorm," he ordered. "Now." Deep beneath major cities around the world, Nuclear charges detonated in carefully calculated sequences, not powerful enough to destroy the cities above. These were not weapons of mass destruction. Instead, they created precisely calibrated shock waves that launched thousands of small devices into the atmosphere. The devices, no larger than softballs, rose through the air, unnoticed by the cracks who were focused on their harvesting operations. At precisely 15 miles above Earth's surface, they activated simultaneously. The electromagnetic pulse that followed was unlike anything seen before. Specifically tuned to the frequency Kate Williams had discovered, it washed over the planet in waves of invisible energy. To human technology, properly shielded, it was harmless. To Crack's crystal technology, it was devastating. On the ground, Commander Dres watched in horror as his harvesting equipment began to vibrate. The crystal structures resonated with the pulse, their molecular bonds weakening. Cracks appeared, spreading, like frost across glass. His soldier's armor followed, the beautiful crystal formations splintering and falling away. "Emergency protocol," Dres shouted into his communication device. But no response came. The pulse had already reached their ships in orbit. Aboard the Crack's command vessel, crystalline control panels shattered. Navigation systems failed. Life support fluctuated. The proud mining fleet that had arrived to harvest Earth now floated helpless, their technology crumbling around them. "Now," Admiral Susan Clark ordered from her command ship near Jupiter. Earth's hidden fleet powered up, engines flaring to life as they emerged from concealment. They accelerated toward the disabled Crack's vessels, weapons charged. Captain Tim Bailey led the first attack wing, his modified fighter craft closing rapidly on the largest Crack's harvesters. "Remember the station they destroyed," he told his pilots. "Remember the 300. The human counterattack was swift and precise. The crystal-disrupting weapons developed from studying the Crack's technology proved devastatingly effective. Where the Crack ships tried to raise shields, the specialized weapons simply bypassed them, targeting the crystal structures directly. Within 30 minutes, half the Crack's fleet was disabled or destroyed. The remaining vessels, unable to flee using their fold space technology, attempted to fight back with conventional weapons. But Earth ships, smaller and more maneuverable, evaded their attacks while continuing their relentless assault. On the ground, the human resistance emerged from hiding. Special Forces teams led by Major Laura Wilson surrounded the stranded Crack's landing parties. In Washington, D.C., Laura approached the now defenseless Commander Dres. The Crack's officer stood amid the ruins of his harvesting equipment, his crystalline armor fractured and useless. His soldiers had been captured or killed. "You were warned," Laura told him as her team secured his restraints. "The universe tried to tell you about us." Dres's four eyes glowed with fury. "Impossible. You are a primitive species. How did you—" "We adapt," Laura interrupted. "We learn. We've spent our entire history fighting to survive. Did you really think we'd just lie down and let you harvest our world?" A human soldier approached with news from orbit. "Major, Admiral Clark reports the Crack's fleet is neutralized. 80% of their vessels disabled or destroyed. The rest have surrendered." Laura nodded. "Prepare the prisoners for transport. The science teams will want to study them." Beyond Earth's solar system, something unprecedented was happening. Long-range vessels commanded by Captain Ryan Jones had used the Crack's navigation data to locate the aliens' homeworld. 5 human warships emerged from fold space, technology reverse-engineered from captured Crack ships, and took position around the crystal planet. They didn't attack. They didn't need to. Instead, they disabled the planet's defense grid with precision strikes and broadcast a message to the stunned Crack's population below. People of the Crack's dominion. 1 month ago, your forces threatened Earth with extinction. You expected submission. Instead, your mining fleet has been defeated, your ground forces captured. We could do what you threatened to do to us, strip your world of resources and leave your people homeless. Captain Ryan's face appeared on screens across the Crack's homeworld. But we're giving you a choice instead. Your leaders will be contacted. With our terms. Choose wisely. In the Galactic Council chamber, representatives watched these events unfold with astonishment. The arbitrator turned to the scarred Varlian representative. You tried to warn them. The Varlian made that rasping sound again, their version of laughter. Some lessons must be learned firsthand. The cracks wanted to harvest Earth. Instead, they planted the seeds of their own destruction. And now humanity knows about the wider galaxy, another representative noted with concern. Indeed, the Varlian agreed. The universe will never be the same. 1 week after the defeat of the Cracks fleet, Earth was still coming to terms with its victory. Cities around the world buzzed with activity as people emerged from underground shelters and remote bunkers. The mood was one of cautious celebration. Humanity had survived, but everyone understood that the universe had just become a much larger and more complex place. In a secure facility beneath what remained of the Pentagon, Commander Sam Miller and War Minister Jack Howard stood before a holding cell. Inside, Commander Drez sat motionless, his crystalline body dimmed from its former brilliance. The Cracks officer had not spoken since his capture. Still nothing? Jack asked, studying their prisoner. Sam shook his head. Not a word. The other captured. Cracks are the same, silent, withdrawn. Pride, Jack suggested. They never imagined being defeated by primitives like us. Maybe, Sam agreed. Or maybe it's something else. Dr. Williams has a theory. They walked down a sterile corridor to a laboratory where Kate Williams was examining a piece of Cracks. Technology. She looked up as they entered, her face showing the exhaustion of someone who hadn't slept properly in days. You have something to show us? Jack asked. Kate nodded and gestured to a microscope. Take a look. Sam leaned forward, peering through the lens at what appeared to be a fragment of Cracks crystal. What am I seeing? The crystal structures aren't just technology, Kate explained. They're an extension of the Cracks themselves. Their bodies, their ships, their weapons, all connected through some kind of crystalline network. Jack frowned. Like a hive mind? Not exactly, Kate said. More like their version of the internet, but one they're physically connected to. When our EMP weapons shattered their technology, we didn't just break their tools. We cut them off, from each other. Sam straightened, his expression troubled. So they're in shock. Essentially, Kate confirmed, imagine if all human communication, internet, phones, everything suddenly vanished. And imagine if that system was also part of your biology. Jack considered this information. Does this change our approach? It should, Kate said. The Cracks aren't just defeated enemies. They're a species in trauma. Meanwhile, at the edge of the solar system, the first diplomatic meeting between humanity and the Galactic Council was taking place. The Council had sent a delegation vessel to meet with Earth representatives aboard the USS Defiant, newly refitted with technology derived from Cracks designs. Admiral Susan Clark led the human delegation, accompanied by Officer Lisa Daniels, whose first contact experience made her invaluable. They stood in the Defiant's conference room as 5 alien representatives entered, being so different from humans that Lisa had to remind herself they were all sentient creatures with cultures, histories, and societies of their own. The arbitrator, its mechanical shell hovering slightly above the floor, spoke first. The Galactic Council acknowledges Earth's victory over the Cracks' dominion. A remarkable achievement for a species previously classified as pre-contact. We didn't want this conflict, Susan replied firmly. We offered peace. The Cracks chose violence. Indeed, the arbitrator agreed. The Cracks have long been problematic. Their expansion has concerned the Council for centuries. However, no member species was willing to challenge them directly. A tall, willowy being with blue-tinted skin and 6-fingered hands stepped forward. I am Delegate Theron of the Cepheid Alliance. May I speak plainly? Susan nodded. Please do. You have done what none of us dared, Theron said. The Cracks believed themselves invincible. You proved them wrong. Now many worlds they subjugated are rising up, inspired by Earth's example. We didn't intend to start a galactic revolution, Lisa commented. Intention matters less than action, said another delegate, a being that appeared to be made of living smoke contained within a transparent exoskeleton. The question now is, What role will humanity play in the new balance of power? Back on Earth, Captain Tim Bailey led a rescue mission to one of the worlds previously conquered by the Cracks. The planet Tellus, once home to a peaceful species of amphibious humanoids, had been stripped of resources and its people forced into labor camps. Tim's ship, accompanied by a small fleet, dropped out of fold space near the planet. The Cracks' overseers, learning of their empire's defeat, fled rather than face human forces. Tim led the ground team personally, entering the main labor camp where thousands of Tellurians lived in terrible conditions. The Tellurians were tall, slender, beings with smooth blue skin and large expressive eyes. They watched the humans with a mixture of fear and hope as Tim addressed their leaders. "We come from Earth," Tim explained through a translation device. "The Cracks attacked our world, but we defeated them. We're here to help you reclaim yours." An elderly Tellurian stepped forward. His once blue skin faded to pale gray. "For 3 generations, we have lived as slaves. Why would humans help us?" Tim removed his helmet, allowing the Tellurians to see his face. "Because no sentient being should live in chains. Because your freedom matters as much as ours." On the Cracks' homeworld, Captain Ryan Jones supervised the enforcement of the peace terms. Unlike what the Cracks would have done to Earth, humanity didn't strip the planet or enslave its people. Instead, they demanded reparations for the damage done and the liberation of all conquered worlds. Ryan stood in what had once been the Cracks' high command chamber, now serving as a transition government center. The crystal walls, once pulsing with energy, were dim and cracked from the effects of the human weapons. "The 57th labor camp on Novus Prime has been liberated," reported his second-in-command, Lieutenant Diane Reed. "That completes the list. All Cracks-held slaves have been freed." Ryan nodded with satisfaction. "And the reparation shipments?" "The first vessels are departing now," Diane said. "Medical supplies, food, and construction materials for the worlds that suffered most under Cracks' rule." "Good," Ryan said. "Ensure they know it comes from both Earth and the Cracks people." "Sir?" Diane looked confused. "This isn't about punishment," Ryan explained. "It's about rebuilding. The Cracks people weren't our enemies. Their leadership was. If we want lasting peace, we need to help them find a better way forward, not grind them into dust." Across the galaxy, news of Earth's approach spread. Many had expected the humans to become the new Cracks, conquering, taking, ruling with force. Instead, they watched as humans helped rebuild, free slaves, and establish new diplomatic ties. In Naya, the Galactic Council chamber, the Varlian representative met with the arbitrator privately. "The humans surprise even me," the Varlian admitted. "When we encountered them a century ago, they fought with savage determination. I expected them to become conquerors. Perhaps that is why they did not," the arbitrator mused. "They know the cost of violence from their own history. They chose a different path." "Will they join the council?" the Varlian asked. "They have been invited," the arbitrator confirmed. "Their representatives arrive next week." The Varlian made a gesture of concern. "Some council members fear them, a species that defeated the Cracks in their first contact situation. It changes the balance of power." "Change was inevitable," the arbitrator replied. "Better to welcome them as allies than fear them as potential enemies." Back on Earth, Sam Miller stood at a view screen, watching as Earth ships departed for worlds he'd never heard of before. Humanity was venturing into the stars not as conquerors but as liberators and diplomats. "Did we do the right thing?" he asked Lisa Daniels, who stood beside him. Lisa smiled. "We offered peace first. We defended ourselves when attacked. Now, we're helping others. Yes, Sam, we did the right thing." Sam nodded slowly. "I hope the rest of the galaxy agrees." 6 months after the defeat of the Cracks, Earth representatives Jason Morgan and Nicole Brown stood at the entrance to the Galactic Council chamber. Jason adjusted his formal diplomatic uniform, his expression serious but calm. At 38, the former history professor had never imagined becoming humanity's first ambassador to the stars. Beside him, Nicole, A brilliant linguist who had worked alongside Lisa Daniels to develop translation systems for dozens of alien languages, checked her data tablet one final time. "Ready?" Jason asked her. Nicole nodded, her dark eyes bright with excitement. As ready as anyone can be to make history. The massive doors slid open, revealing the council chamber in all its glory. Tier upon tier of seats rose in a perfect circle, each occupied by a representative of a different spacefaring civilization. Some appeared almost human, others defied easy description, beings of energy, crystalline entities, creatures that seemed to shift between states of matter as they moved. 200 civilizations, each with its own history, culture, and agenda. And now, humanity would join them. The arbitrator's mechanical shell hovered at the center of the chamber. "The council recognizes the representatives of Earth," it announced, its voice resonating through the vast space. "Step forward and be welcomed." Jason and Nicole walked to the central platform, aware of the thousands of alien eyes following their every move. This moment would be recorded in the histories of countless worlds. "We come in peace and friendship," Jason began, using the traditional greeting. "Earth is honored to join this ancient and noble assembly." A murmur ran through the chamber, not disapproval, but surprise. Many had expected humans to be arrogant after their victory over the cracks. Instead, they showed respect for council traditions. The arbitrator responded, "The terms of Earth's membership have been negotiated and agreed upon. They are unprecedented. Earth has requested and been granted special provisions." Another murmur, louder this time. Special provisions were rare. That Earth had secured them as a new member was remarkable. Nicole stepped forward. "We don't seek domination," she explained to the assembled representatives. "But we will not be dominated either. Earth joins the council as an equal, not as a junior member subject to the will of older civilizations." One of the council members, a being with metallic skin and glowing eyes, rose from its seat. "The humans defeated the cracks in 6 days," it said, its voice translating through the chamber's systems. "A feat none of us could accomplish in 6 centuries. And yet they show restraint. They did not destroy the cracks' homeworld. They did not enslave their people." Another representative stood. "They showed mercy afterward," it added. "That's the truly frightening part. They had the power to conquer and chose not to use it." Jason's diplomatic training kept his expression neutral, but beside him, Nicole smiled slightly. "Good. Let them." Think humanity's restraint was more terrifying than its strength. Such a reputation would serve Earth well in future negotiations. After the ceremony, as they signed the formal treaty of membership, an ancient Varlian approached them. Its scarred body moved with a grace that belied its appearance. "Long ago, we learned what you recently taught the cracks," it said, the translation coming through Nicole's tablet. "The universe will remember this lesson for generations. Humanity does not start fights, but they certainly finish them." In another part of the galaxy, aboard the Earth vessel Horizon, Commander Sam Miller looked out at the stars. After months of helping to establish Earth's new role in the galactic community, he had requested a new assignment: exploration, rather than diplomacy or defense. "Beautiful, isn't it?" Lisa Daniels asked, joining him at the viewport. Now Earth's leading xenolinguist, she had joined the Horizon's mission to study newly discovered civilizations. "Hard to believe it's only been 6 months, Sam replied. "Sometimes I still expect to wake up and find it was all a dream. Aliens, interstellar travel, the Galactic Council." "No dream," Lisa assured him, "though sometimes it feels like one." She handed him a data tablet. "The latest reports from Earth. Kate Williams has successfully adapted Crack's crystal technology for medical purposes. The regeneration capabilities are proving remarkable." Sam scrolled through the information. "And the cracks themselves?" "Progress," Lisa said. "Slow, but real. Their new government has formally apologized to all worlds they conquered. Reparations continue. Some former cracks military officers are even helping track down illegal harvesting operations run by rogue elements." Sam nodded thoughtfully. And the ones who were stationed on Earth during the conflict? Commander Drez has become an unexpected bridge, Lisa explained. Once he recovered from the shock of defeat, he's been working with Jack Howard to establish better understanding between our species. Sam raised an eyebrow in surprise. Enemies to allies in 6 months, that's quite a turnaround. Not allies yet, Lisa cautioned, but no longer enemies. It's a start. Back in the council chamber, as most representatives departed, a small group remained behind, speaking in hushed tones. Humanity's ships are already venturing beyond their solar system, one observed, not as conquerors, but as explorers. With weapons ready, another added. They may speak of peace, but they prepare for war. The arbitrator's mechanical shell drifted closer. Would you do differently after what happened during their first contact? They came offering friendship and received violence in return. Crystalline being, not cracks but similar, vibrated with concern. They adapted our technology within weeks. Imagine what they might achieve in decades. That, said the Varlian representative, is precisely why wise civilizations will seek their friendship rather than their enmity. On Earth, in what had once been the United Nations building in New York, now rebuilt and expanded to house the new Interstellar Relations Department, War Minister Jack Howard met with a group of cadets, the first class of Earth's new diplomatic defense force. 6 months ago, we didn't know we weren't alone in the universe, he told them. Today, we stand as equals among civilizations that have traveled the stars for thousands of years. A young cadet raised her hand. Sir, in training they told us that we should always seek peaceful solutions first. But after what the cracks did, why not take a stronger stance? Jack considered the question carefully. Because strength without wisdom leads to destruction. The cracks were powerful but not wise. They saw other species as resources to be harvested. That view led to their downfall. He looked out the window at the bustling city, where humans now worked alongside representatives from a dozen alien worlds. Our victory wasn't just about better weapons or clever tactics. It was about choosing what kind of spacefaring civilization we want to be. In orbit above Earth, ships from across the galaxy docked at the newly constructed Gateway Station. Among them was a vessel from the former Krax Empire, now the Krax Republic. Its crystalline structure, once imposing and cold, had been redesigned. Still beautiful, but no longer threatening. As the Krax representative disembarked escorted by Earth security personnel, humans watched with a mixture of caution and curiosity. The representative, younger than those who had led the attempted invasion, bowed deeply in the human manner. We come to learn, the Krax said simply, to understand why, when you could have destroyed us, you chose another path. Across the stars, the story spread from world to world, growing with each telling, how a young species facing extinction at the hands of a galactic power had not only survived, but thrived. How they had offered mercy instead of vengeance, how they explored instead of conquered, and how the universe now contained a new truth, whispered among those who would be conquerors. Humanity does not seek conflict, but those who bring war to Earth find only defeat.